Okay, so all of these molds now are ready to rock and roll. As you've seen, the weather has been horrendous, so I'm going to take these guys into the kitchen where it's a bit warmer, for where the resin will work best. Unfortunately, my missus is home from work, and yeah, that's going to be interesting. If I get resin on the kitchen table, workbench or floor, I'm sleeping in the doghouse and we don't even have a dog. Anyway, these are the risks you take, eh? So, filled some of these molds. I'm now going through the unenviable task of popping all the initial bubbles. I'll be back within half an hour, and more bubbles will to be popped. I gave each of the molds a little massage, just, you know, pushing and tweezing there. As you can see, I didn't do enough material to actually fill all the molds here in one go, so that's okay. My priority was this mold here, and of course the main base. These accessories are quite easy to do. Now, I've created this with a very high detailing casting material, resin, and this resin is actually very expensive. But what it does is, let me just go and find a piece. Have we got a piece around? Yeah. What it does is it allows me to cast in very thin sheets, and if I want to break it, I'm sure I could, but this, here's the test. This is where it smashes. There you go. It didn't smash. So this is extremely durable stuff, but it's expensive. So what that allows me to do is the thinner molds that I've created, these ones, and you can see it, there's really nothing to it. Yeah, really nothing to them. This mold here I may be able to do in another casting material, and that casting material, if I can find, here we go, that casting material was my original stuff, and also extremely durable, but it doesn't take up the details as well. Don't get me wrong, it takes up the details fantastically. So, just an idea of some of the details that I get out of these. And this is the old casting material, which is slightly cheaper, and I think it does a fantastic job. And for the rocks, these sort of things, spot on. Next thing I need to do is I need to go out and find trees. Unfortunately, we've had a massive bonfire in the garden, and I've burnt everything down at the behest of She Who Must Be Obeyed, which is perfectly fine, and I've got to find new stuff. So these were roots from Lalandi, and they actually work extremely well as I don't know, kind of semi-dead, lifeless trees. Along with the accessories I'm making, I'm hoping to, well, hopefully I'll show you those later on. I'm hoping to fill these holes in various ways, whether it's be the trees, whether it's with stump ends, or whether it's with an adjustable attachment where you can actually put in your own trees however you like. It'll just be a case of get whatever you want, drill a hole in the base, and then that'll just sit in nicely into the attachment. So we'll see. It's all go. I suppose there's not much else to show you. This stuff will just crack on its own. I've got to pop all these bubbles now, obviously. No major rush on that. Over here, the flock is coming on nicely. This is drying out. and that's coming out quite well. I'm really impressed with that stuff actually. And the red flock is coming on. Obviously I'm not doing a Martian moon territory, but I will be taking samples of this and just mixing it in with the other greens. Another flock that I was just so impressed with was, I think it's this one here. Just bear with me while I open this one up. Yeah, I mean, you can see how fluffy and how non-dusty that is. That's really turned out quite well. And if you look at the amount I've got, well, that's one of the small jugs. We're down to another jug here. I'm going to place that up there. And again, this just needs a little bit. This actually looks a bit dark on the camera shot, but if I can get a nice... That's actually really... I'm looking through the camera lens here, and it's looking grey-green. But in reality, it's actually a really nice, fertile type of green coming up here. It's not showing on the camera, maybe it's the lighting. But that's really nice. I'm well happy. Excuse me. I'm well happy with that. One thing I need to do here is I need to sit down and just paint up these. Let's see if we can zoom in there. Zoom in. Paint up these little aspects of branches and stuff that I've placed on. Okay, so that'll really give it a nice woodland scenic aspect. We have another one here. Again, whoops, let it zoom in. Where is it? So there's the big log there. That actually turned out quite nicely in my painting. Very realistic colours, but these small pieces definitely need some work. So there's actually quite a lot of wood, some planks, some broken pieces there. So yeah, some awesome detail. And hence that's why I'm trying to keep the high grade resin for this stuff. Now, though my designs, and I'm blowing my own trumpet here, though my designs in my own mind are awesome, what I am quite disappointed in is the edge finish. I'm not too happy with the edge finish. I don't think it's as professional. Now, I've had a couple of people asking me, will I sell these? And I suppose yes, I will, because I've got to try and make some money back in order to build all the ETC extra scenery. But my concern is that my edge finish isn't professional enough to warrant it. So, you know, when I charge a price and I get the money from the person, I actually always tend to feel guilty about that I didn't do a good enough job. But yeah, let's just take another wander just over one of the rocks again. Yeah, let's get that into zoom. You can see the reddish colours coming through there, into red and yellows. An aspect of, my hands are shaking, sorry, an aspect of the Iron Hill rock features that you'd find rounded due to the fact that it's been exposed with some debris around, small little boulders and rocks, imprinted into the ground, as well as some of the topsoil has been establishing itself around. So, you know, nicely rounded there. In my opinion, this would be on the outer reaches of the Iron Hills, possibly glacial erosion driving these boulders down into moraines, etc. And so it kind of fits in quite nicely into any table without being overly pompous, or I need to get rid of some of that flock off that. That's a nice little outcrop. To deciding what goes where and how it goes. finding the right sort of rocks to go onto this piece, working out the dynamics of where it is in relationship to the other piece, if it's in the master board. Yeah, I think I'll call it the master baseboard. And yeah, you can just see how that tapers down. Awesome pieces for line of sight, potential shooting over. This is very iconic to the landscape that I'm living in presently in the Peak District. You can see the layers. It's gritstone is a form of sandstone. It's much harder, and it takes on a very solid crust that weathers down nicely. But if you break the crust, it turns into a large pebbled aspect, which is why you get a lot of these smaller bits on the base. This is it's both slate, but it can also be gritstone if weathered right. But I just decided I wanted to let's try and get some focus on there. I wanted to see if I could actually get some really iconic local pieces set up. You can see the flattened area just there, and that's indicative of slate, and then the breaking the strata lines. Let's just get that into. So you can see the different color flux coming through there, which give this piece very quickly done. I mean, were I to give this to someone who had the time to sit down and do each part individually, this would just blow your mind. It blows my mind just looking at it. But with 150 of these to do, that's a quick job. So let's just zoom out, and the weather outside is getting just as interesting. So it's coming down again. Right. So we'll leave you at this. I'm going to pop a few bubbles here, see if any more have formed. Yeah, there's a few there. They're coming through, and there's quite a few on this, so this needs a bit of a popping, and we'll come back and we'll take a look later on. I hope you've enjoyed this part of the video. I don't know how I'm going to do this video, whether it's going to be all in one or whether it's going to be little snippets and stuff, but it's just an insight into what I've been doing and where my focuses are, and yeah, slow progression. Okay guys, listen, I'll speak to you later, and thanks for viewing up till now at least. Bye for now. Right, so I've just been to the garage to take a look at some of the mold stuff that I've been doing, and here we go. Now you take this out too early and you get this effect. There we go. Now, the downside of this is obviously it is very malleable. The upside is that the cleaning process is very easy initially. Now, because this actually has to fit in to the mold, I can't be overcritical with the trimming part that I'm doing right now, and this is literally very soft. Okay, I only do this technique maybe once or twice out of a batch of, we'll say, 10 or so. And you know, it's a fantastic technique, and I would say this is amazing. This is how you should do it. And then I'm going to honestly say, well, this isn't how you should do it. This is my impatience on wanting to get hands-on and wanting to get results and wanting to see. So yeah, but it does trim. Let me just zoom back here. I need to flatten it down. One of the key reasons I do this, or have done this, is because of this bubbling effect I'm getting. And that's when the resin is the wrong temperature ore has been poured in stages. If it hasn't been poured in one clean flow, you get billions of tiny little bubbles forming here, which form a higher crust. And these bubbles can actually be millimeters, centimeters, and even an inch thick on some molds. And that can be disastrous, because to file down this stuff afterwards means you're chucking right in through all of these bubbles. But what's going to happen now is I'm going to lay this out as such, keep it as flat as possible, don't push too hard. The reason being is because, as I said, it is all malleable. But this will harden nicely to a crisp. It'll actually turn into glass, and in that stage it is very, very brittle. But then it goes through another transition, and it turns into some form of unbreakable plastic. Breakable, obviously, because it'll snap if you really go hell for leather on it. But it'll take knocks, drops, all of that sort of stuff. Again, not getting things right, I've allowed a bubble to form just here, so I'll just peel that away. That'll be great. As I said, within a period of time, and to be honest, on the different drying conditions, I don't know which time it is presently, this would turn into just crisp, and you could just run your knife along and you hear crackle, crackle. And I have another bubble formed in fact I've got two bubbles formed in this rock, which I'm not even happy about whatsoever. Again, different temperatures on the formation, on the resin, doing the resin, will definitely cause this. Now, as I said, I can do bits and pieces with it, but I can't do too much at this stage because it's like trying to work with modelling clay with a consistency of bubblegum. Again, more. So later on, this would just crack off, and eventually it will just pair off quite nicely. So it really depends on what sort of effect you want. Now, each of these, obviously the effect is under my control, as I'm the one who's making the stuff, but it does allow for a bit more of a custom approach. If someone wanted something specific, I can then aim to do so. Also, don't know if you can see there the little bit of pink. That's where the mold is still weak and the resin has managed to pull away the mold. So again, this still needs to be flattened out. We can press these edges down a bit. Hey ho, let's give it something to protect it. Remember, we are in the family home, so that won't fit. That won't fit properly either. This I would put on, but it will dip down into that, so we'll just put it out of the way on a table mat. So, come back to me over here. So, let's zoom you out. So that's just another aspect to the terrain making, where bits and pieces can be tweaked in various stages. Okay, hello guys. So basically we have some of the molds that I've been doing. We'll open this one up last. If this turns out to be of good quality, then I'll be impressed. If not, it's possibly a waste of a mold. This is the accessory mold. I'm not looking to, how would I say, great expectations, because the casting that went in here was not the best quality. and it's had a bit of movement around, and some of the things are quite fragile. But this is the piece de resistance. This is the back, and you can see I've already started to unpeel that. We're going to open this one up and see what this is like. Depending on the time frame of its setting within its process, it will either come across quite solid, or it will still be in a stage that I like to class as the crinkly crack, where cracks can easily appear. So it's really a case of maintaining a lot of pressure down to keep it flat on the base. And I'll turn this around now and start peeling from the other side, and it's really just, it's breaking into this section here. Yeah, once I break into that section there and that, then it peels off quite easily. But as I said, if this is done in the early stages, then it can crack in the center. Now, here we go. So, first things first, bad edging. Oh, let's see if we can get the cameras in properly, my apologies. So a bit of bad edging, that needs to be cleaned off, and that's actually very difficult even just to break this tiniest bit. Let's just see. This is all upside down, of course, so my apologies. Upside down for me at least. So there's a tiny bit there, and I can't even break that off with my nail. So this has gone past the crinkly crack stage, and this is now quite solid. Okay, I drop this, it'll smash, and I'll go, oh no! There you go, it's fine. It has moved on. We have aspects here of the blue, which I think you can just make out, and that would be, again, degrading of the actual mold, where some of the small bits have obtained a good closure with the casting material, and so hence it comes away. This is a slight problem with this resin in respects that it finds every small tiny detail and can adhere quite a lot. I'm not sure where the reds come from, to be honest. That must have got into there, but that's fine. I'll just clean all of this up, clean all the sides, give it a good sanding down, sand down the base as well, because you will have some, I don't know if you can see there, you can just make out little lips there where the resin has actually piled up. But hey-oh, and that will then turn into this. So, the other mold, which I did cheat on and already open out of excitement, is the hill mold, and that comes out quite quickly and easily in this case because it was only just placed back in. But again, you can see the blue. This is a virgin casting, so the resin will pull out any defects and any bits and pieces it can in the initial stage. That just needs to be cleaned out, and that'll be fine. So away from there, and these should slot in relatively easy. Again, I cheated by saying that I actually went away and cleaned up some of these. I cleaned this one up a little bit too much, and I actually took off a bit too much, but a little bit of green stuff there, but a bit of modelling will be fine. But there you go. So that's the new hills. Nicely painted up when I do, should I say, and it should give a nice blending into the rest of the base. Just to show you alternatives, again, I don't think I've cleaned this one up yet, so it won't fit in perfectly, but this just needs a little bit of cleaning in the right spots, and you'll have the tree base, plus we also have the rocky outcrops. So with these accessory bits, you know, you can change the dynamic of the base, which is what I intended to do. So, you know, hopefully this will be exciting for the people at the event. And I've also made headway to contact a couple of people to see if they're actually interested in I don't know, getting their hands on this or even putting it in shops and like. I'm still a bit dubious about my finishings. Just here alone, I don't know if you can see that there. This needs to be properly done, but again, 12 of these in no space of time, so there we go. And now the part I'm dreading the most. In here is a number of pieces, and they'll either come out perfectly or they won't. I'm just cracking the upper surface, since a lot of this is unreliant on how the piece actually comes out. So I'm going to need something to pry these out, possibly. So bear with me a second whilst I go and get some tools and see how this all works out. That cracking is fine because this is one of the tabs down into the actual piece, so I've got no problem with that breaking up and cracking. I think what I want to do is, personally, I want to take out these other pieces first and then we can work on this one. So bear with me while I go and get some tools. Okay guys, I'm back. Well, let's have a cup of coffee first. Hey, there we go, some ring raids. What can I say? Anyway, oh darn it, that was hot. What can you muppet, Dave. Okay, so a few tools. And let's see if I can crack these babies out without breaking them too badly. Oh, okay, so a little bit of flash on that. I don't know if you can see that there. Right. That's a bit of a tree trunk, and when I clean it up, it'll... where's my piece? I'm looking to fit that into here rather than having full trees. So yeah, you know, it could work. We'll see. I definitely won't be charging vast prices for those if someone wanted to buy them, but you know, it's a handy little thing to have. Let's see what else we have in this one. Oh, okay. Now this one is quite a bit more flash on that as well. But what I've managed to do is I've managed to try and get a tree that's slightly rotting. Okay. Again, all of these bits and pieces that you can see on it are residues that are left over from the original casting. So there's a piece of wood still in there. So, you know, these can all be taken out and stuff, and the next casting might be a little bit more. Although I have taken some of the blue with it as well, so I think what's going to happen there is we might lose some of that detail. But, you know, hey ho, first attempt. We'll see how it all goes. Okay, so that's two. Let's try the next one. I know that these things don't look fabulous. Right, okay, so this one's a toughie. Maybe I need to open this mold a little bit more. Yeah, to get a better grip. Some of these are going to work, and obviously some of these are not, but in the first run it'll... Okay, this is getting a bit too much. I think this is one of the ones that I've actually put a side branch on. So we'll go for this other one here, which that hasn't turned out like I wanted it to. That actually, yeah, that's definitely not turned out like I wanted it to. That is meant to be just a stopgap part, but it could work. We'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. I mean, that needs definite cleaning up in there. And it's got some flash as well that needs coming out. This isn't a problem. it's all a learning curve when you're doing new stuff. So let's go on to the next one. Now I need to open these a lot more because they're curved within. Again, got some of the green stuff that still attached there that didn't come out in the original mold. So the second molding of these may actually be a bit better. Again, it's all just a case of let's see what we've got. This one's come out okay, but I need to break it off the flashing. So when these are all cleaned up, I'm expecting them to be little accessories that work. Hopefully. Ah, this one. Yeah, a bit of a bent stump, broken branch. It's got a hole in the top, which is good, so it's maintained some aspect of that. We'll now try and get this one out because I've got a bit more leverage. It does presently, excuse the manhandling. Yeah, I think this is definitely an uphill struggle, but put out a bit of flash there. Right, so we need the knife for this because I'm pulling against myself. Need to get back in there again and see. Let's see if we can zoom you in. Okay, so where's the branch going off? It's going off in that direction. There we go. So for the next one, I've just got to be a little bit more draconian. Get that. We have no super glue, but if I can go back to the original piece that first broke off, which was here, this will super glue. Oh my god, sorry. Is this the original piece? Yeah. That will super glue perfectly. It's got a little chip in it, but I'll be able to use that and test it out. So those are the little bits. Let's zoom you out because so they're the little bits over there. Bit of flash. Get rid of all of this. And now let's see how this one turned out. I haven't got much high hopes for it, unfortunately. I think getting it out of the mold is going to do so much. For starters, it has broken at this joint. And the only way I can get it out is to prise it up. The things we do for our hobbies, eh? The idea was solid. The result there we go. Over time, this might actually lost a lot of the inner detailing I wanted in this, but then I think I was perhaps being a little bit too ambitious. But as I said, that could mean consecutive molding, repeat molding could pull out all the problems within the fine detail of the mold, which will make it a lot easier to get better results as each casting goes on. So you can see some of the blue mold material that's been pulled out here, and we can chop that bit away. Figure out where the actual attachment was. Yeah, that's a massive piece of blue mold. That in itself is no longer now in the mold, which could make the mold easier to work with, but yet I've lost some of the ultra fine detail that I wanted initially. So, let's see how this all kind of goes together. So, this part here was that's the attachment tab. And this, I'm not too sure whether I like where that goes or not just yet. Let's see about this one. I don't even know where this went. No, it definitely wasn't like that. But the end result is potentially a fallen branch or a fallen tree, and it's finding out where. So the secondary mold of this should be a lot better. But this is what you come up against, guys. This is the, you know, it doesn't always work first time round. If it did, there would be a lot more people out there doing these things, and obviously doing them very well. Me, I'm still practicing, still working, still learning as well. That flash, and next time round hopefully we'll have what can only be classed as a much better result. So what I'm going to do now is cut another flash line there, and that'll make that easier to come out. And should I do another flash line there from this side here? Go. So that in itself, just by putting in the right lines in the right places, will add to the flashing, but will make the mold easier to come out. Now, which was the one that I had that problem with? It was this one here in the corner, and I want to extend this one out a bit, not too far to the edge, Dave, and there we go. So, round one, potentially a complete mess. Round two, on the other hand, with new things learnt and new ideas put in, we could start seeing the package come up that I wanted. If I could find the attachment point for this right now, I would be very happy. Because what I do, there we go, I believe. Is it something like that? And then this will just lie on like that. So when it's all done and dusted, you'll have an accessory piece to make your woods into a lot more woodlandish. So, I hope you've enjoyed this process of going through the casting process, the ups, the downs, the failures, the mistakes, which are all very, very important, I think, for you to see. That will give people hope to start going, oh, I think I can do that myself. And I'd like to see that, because my imagination, as good as I'd like to think it is still only limited. So it's really good to see other people's imaginations come out, and hopefully this process will make it affordable and achievable for people to try it out themselves and to have a go. Okay, so I'm going to leave you on that, and I'm going to get these cleaned up, and I'll get another casting of these done. So there'll be 2 of these going to my friend, there'll be 2 of these, and there'll be this set, plus there will be the Rocky Outcrops set, which I have the originals here. You know, it's all broken up now. Yeah, hopefully if I can get another good casting of this and these plug sockets, as I like to call them, then yeah, be great. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this, and speak to you all soon. Bye for now.